Hi guys, welcome back to Fill Your Cup. I am Vanda Foren, and as usual, I'm so grateful to have you all back here today on this Sunday. But as you all know, today is not just any Sunday. Today is Father's Day, and I am really wishing a great happy Father's Day to all dads out there, all the fathers that are logged on to this channel, hello, and all the fathers who play such an important role in my life and in the lives of kids out there. And most of all, of course, I would love to wish a happy Father's Day to my father, who is Jesus Christ. I am beyond grateful to have an amazing father, and I pray and hope that every single video on this channel will encourage every one of you to get closer to him, because there is no father that can compare. So to get into today's video, I don't believe that this video may be a long one, but it's just some of my private time with God that I just wanted to share with you all. If you are here for the first time, welcome. I am Vanda Faran, and I post every Sunday on faith, encouragement, inspiration, trying to get people closer to Christ and to just more or less share my journey with him. So I pray and hope that if that is what you're into, like, welcome to the channel. Remember to please like and subscribe and to share. I believe that the more that we get this word out is so important, that much more people know about God as possible. Like, there is enough God to go around, and we don't need to keep it to ourselves. So please like, share, and subscribe. And if you are returning, as usual, I am very, very, very grateful for your support, and I pray and hope that this video blesses you. So today, I just want to talk a little bit about the prayer that Jesus said in Gethsemane, and that is in Matthew chapter 26, verses 36. And I've read it multiple times before, and I've always felt really sad when I read it, because for those who don't know, it's the prayer that Jesus said before he was crucified. When he was going to the cross, he went in the Garden of Gethsemane and he prayed to God, more or less telling God, he was very grieved, like he was so grieved, and he was telling God that he was asking God to let this cup pass from him, like to take this away from him, but not his will, but your will be done. So he was telling God, take this away from me, but not my will, your will be done, right? And every time I read it, I found it was so sad, because I don't think that any of us could compare our lives or anything that we have been through to being crucified, and I know we've all had really challenging times in our lives, where we probably felt like we couldn't make it through, or where we felt like we were alone and we were going through that struggle and that challenge on our own. And I was wondering that if that was our prayer at some point in time, that God, take this away from me. And I don't know how that would have been for you personally, or what you went through. But when I thought about Jesus and him asking God to take that cup away from him, it's really brought me to a place of, I don't know the word, but it brought me to a place of humility, because it's Jesus, because when we hear about Jesus, we think, oh my God, the Son of God and stuff like that. But in that moment, he was just like you and I, and that is how I felt. I always felt that way reading that particular scripture. In that moment, wow, he was just like you and I. He was about to face something so challenging something that he was created for. He didn't ask for that. He was created for that, and he was about to face that. He knew that that was the call on his life, and he was about to face that, but he felt so overwhelmed with grief. He felt that weight. He felt the weight of what he was about to endure. And in his vulnerability, he asked God, his Father, to take it away from him, but not his will, be done. And when I was reading it today, usually when I've read it before, I always felt like, like I always felt like in that moment I could have related, because I always felt like, okay, yes, Jesus died for us and all these things, but in that moment, he was just like you and I. He was just like me. But when I read it today, it was so different. I felt like God is our Father. You know what I mean? And Jesus always made sure and kept God on the forefront. When he would say things like, I only do what I see my Father do, he always made sure to be that example for us, in terms of what our relationship should be like with our Father, right? And today being Father's Day and all, I don't know if that is why I saw this scripture differently, but when I read it today, it just gave me such a it just gave me so much more assurance that God is my Father, and when we are called for something, I don't believe that anything in the details of that says that it's going to be easy. It's going to, because you're called or because you're anointed for a particular thing, nothing like many. I don't believe that God is going to say, I've called you for this and it's going to be easy. No, I believe that just the fact that we are called for something is enough. However, to have God throughout the entire thing is the most important thing. And I feel like if sometimes that is not I feel like sometimes that is not appreciated, or that is not acknowledged. That's the word. Yeah, I believe that is not acknowledged enough, because when I would go through challenging times or challenging moments, or I have been through challenging moments, I have had that same prayer, and I didn't even realize that until I sat with this until I sat with the scripture, that I have had moments where I've been going through like a really tough time with something, and part of me felt in that time that God is putting me through this. Like, sometimes we were so quick to give so much credit to the devil, thinking that, the devil is putting me through this and this is warfare and stuff like that. When it could just be God putting you through a situation to stretch you and to build you and grow you and stuff like that. And I have been through situations where I could definitely relate to this, in terms of it was so hard, and every day in that particular season would have gotten worse. And my prayer started off, like, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And then by day 3, 4, when things just kept getting worse, my prayer was, God, why am I going through this? Please just take this away from me. Like, I don't understand what you are doing. You are my Father. You are the King of all kings and the Lord of all lords. And if there's anyone who could take this away from me, it's you. So I do not understand, why are you not taking this away from me? But you definitely can. And that would be my prayer, And then I've learned that it's not my will, but his will needs to be done, you know. And I have a great appreciation for the things that I've asked him to take away that he didn't. Because what if Jesus did not go to the cross? You know, like, what if when Jesus prayed that prayer, what if he didn't go to the cross? What if God listened or answered to the prayer? What if God answered the prayer of Jesus and took that cup away from him? Like, where would we be? You know, and I feel like this video is a little all over the place, but I don't know if I'm bringing this across right or if I'm communicating it as well as I have it in my mind. But I just feel like for anyone who is struggling with where they are, because it's very challenging and you may feel like God is not in it, I believe that God is in all of it. And I just feel that sometimes we need to look at God as our Father, like remember that he is our Father. And when you remain in a posture of our Father, it changes the perspective of everything. Because think of a parent who molds their children and disciplines their children and raises their children up to be the best that you want them to be. It's not easy. There are many times that you would not be liked, you would be hated, you would be, children don't always like their parents when their parents are correcting them, and when they may have them in a sport or extracurricular activity or a particular class that they no longer want to be in, and then you would leave that child in that class because you as a parent, you see their potential and you know that they are thriving and they are going to do so good, and you can see that, and that child is just fed up. That child is complaining based on how they feel that day, how they feel at that moment. That particular practice session probably was so challenging. That child is ready to give up. They don't want to do it. They're saying, take this cup from me, take me out of this class. And as parents, we don't give up because we know that that's just how that child is feeling then, because they're going through it. And the same way, we want the best for our children, and we will leave them in situations that they are finding so difficult. We will leave them in those situations because we know that those situations are molding them and shaping them into better people. It's the same way God, our Father, is leaving us in situations to mold us and to shape us to become better, to grow in him and to represent him in a better way. Because of course there are some things that we would go through that you will know, like everyone around us will be able to say that had to be God, because there is no way someone else could have brought us out of that situation. So I just wanted anyone who is going through something, or if you're double-minded about where you are right now, or what you've been called to do, if it's looking difficult, if it's hard, if you're thinking about giving up, I just want to urge you to not give up, because God, your Father, is with you in it. And just because he have not removed it from you, it does not mean that he's not in it. It does not mean that he's not listening. Jesus prayed to God, so then why can't we ask? Jesus was very vulnerable and very honest with God in this moment. And the same way you can be honest with God, we can be honest with God and say, I know you've called me to do this, but I don't want to do it. But at the end of the day, your will be done. And I think that there's grace that comes with that He's going to give us the grace to make it through even when we don't want to do it, because we put our trust in Him. We trust Him enough to bring us through something that we don't want to be in. We trust Him to give us the capacity to withstand the weight of what we are going through, even when we think that we're not going to make it to the end. And I know this happens a lot. There are many times that I have been there, so I know it's not me alone. And if you are going through that, please comment, leave a comment, let me know who this message is for. Let me know how God has brought you through, or how you have felt, how you are feeling in this season. Let me know if this is bringing you encouragement. Let me know if you need prayer. Like, we all are going through this at some point of time. Some point in time in our lives, we've all been here. And it's not a one-time thing. There will be another challenging time. There will be another challenging moment. And we will be saying that prayer again, like, God, take me away from this, but your will be done. So my prayer for you is that you keep that posture, because I believe that Jesus was trying to show us that posture of trusting God even when we do not want to do something. When something seems difficult, when something seems hard, it's okay that we can tell our Father that we don't want to do it, we don't want to be a part of it, we do not want to be in it. But at the end of the day, we still trust Him to make that decision for us, because even though we don't want to be in it, we will do it if that is His will for our lives. So stay encouraged, be encouraged, know that you are not alone, know you're not going through this alone. We all are going through something in a different season. But if it's one thing that we all have in common, is a Father who loves us, who never leaves us, who never forsakes us, who is stretching us to become the best versions of ourselves. And that is the version of us that He knows, the version of us that we are still learning about, that some of us have not met yet. And I just pray that this really encourages you. So until next time, please stay filled up, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. I will be keeping you all in my prayers. Please continue to pray for my family and I. Take care. Bye, guys.